The Cosmic Plague. Dr. Elena Ruiz squinted at the holographic display, her eyes bloodshot from countless sleepless nights. The lab around her buzzed with frantic activity, a stark contrast to the eerie silence that had befallen much of Washington, D.C. outside. The streets lay empty, save for the occasional military patrol. "Any change?" asked Colonel James Harper, his voice hoarse with fatigue. Elena shook her head, shoulders plumping. "The nanotech is still rewriting human DNA at an exponential rate. We're not just losing the battle, James. We're being annihilated." The colonel's jaw clenched, his fists balling at his sides. It had been just 3 weeks since the artifact fell from the sky, plummeting through Earth's atmosphere in a blaze of unearthly light. The crash site in the Mojave Desert had been quarantined within hours, but it was already too late. Whatever the alien object contained had been released upon impact, invisible and insidious. The first cases appeared within days. People complaining of fever, disorientation, and strange growths on their skin. By the time the CDC realized they were dealing with something beyond human understanding, the infection had spread to every continent. Dr. Ruiz, a young lab assistant, called out, her voice trembling. "You need to see this." Elena rushed over to the electron microscope, peering into the eyepiece. What she saw made her blood run cold. The nanobots weren't just rewriting human DNA. They were evolving, adapting to their hosts in real time. "My God," she whispered. "It's not just a plague. It's intelligent." Colonel Harper's hand went to his earpiece, his face paling as he listened to the incoming message. "It's happening. The president is going to make the announcement." Elena's head snapped up. "Already? But we haven't even scratched the surface of understanding this thing." "We're out of time," Harper replied grimly. "The mutations are accelerating. We got reports of infected individuals developing abilities, superhuman strength, regeneration, even telepathy. The public is panicking. We need help, and we need it now." As if on cue, every screen in the lab flickered to life, showing the seal of the President of the United States. The room fell silent as the leader of the free world appeared, his face gaunt and eyes haunted. "My fellow Americans and citizens of the world," he began, his voice steady despite the weight of his words. "Today we face a threat unlike any in human history. A threat that has forced us to acknowledge a truth long hidden. We are not alone in the universe." Gasps and murmurs filled the lab, but Elena and Harper remained stone-faced. They'd been part of the inner circle, aware of humanity's secret first contact decades ago. The president continued, "For the past 50 years, we have been in contact with an interstellar governing body known as the Galactic Council. We have kept this secret out of fear and a desire to progress at our own pace. But now, faced with extinction, we must turn to the stars for aid." He went on to explain the nature of the crisis, the failed attempts at containment, and the decision to appeal to the Galactic Council for help. As he spoke, Elena's mind raced. The Council had always viewed Earth as a primitive backwater, barely worth notice. Would they even deign to help now? "Dr. Ruiz," Colonel Harper's voice cut through her thoughts. "You've been selected as part of the delegation to the Council. We leave in an hour." Elena blinked, stunned. "Me? But I'm needed here, working on a cure." Harper shook his head. "You're the foremost expert on this nanotech plague. If anyone can convince those alien eggheads to help us, it's you." As the reality of the situation sank in, Elena felt a strange sensation in her arm. Looking down, she saw a faint, silvery pattern tracing along her veins. Her heart raced as she realized the implications. "James," she said quietly, showing him her arm. "I'm infected." The colonel's eyes widened, but instead of recoiling, he grasped her shoulder firmly. "Then you're the perfect ambassador. You're not just fighting for humanity, Elena. You're fighting for your own survival." Within the hour, Elena found herself aboard a sleek spacecraft hidden beneath the Pentagon. As the engines hummed to life, she looked out at the receding Earth. blue and beautiful despite the catastrophe unfolding on its surface. The ship's captain, a grizzled veteran named Hector Ramirez, approached her. "Dr. Ruiz, we're about to make the jump to faster-than-light travel. You might want to strap in." Elena nodded, securing herself in a high-tech acceleration couch. Around her, the rest of the delegation did the same. There were 5 of them in total. Herself, Colonel Harper, a diplomat, a linguist, and surprisingly, a philosopher. As the ship prepared for its cosmic leap, Elena studied her fellow travelers. Each of them, she realized with a chill, showed subtle signs of infection. A shimmer on the skin here, an unnatural gleam in the eyes there. They were all carriers, walking embodiments of the very plague they sought to cure. Jumping in 3, 2, 1, Captain Ramirez called out. The universe seemed to bend around them, stars stretching into lines of light. Elena's stomach lurched, and for a moment, she felt as if her very atoms were being pulled apart and reassembled. When reality snapped back into focus, they were in a completely different star system. A massive space station loomed before them, its architecture so alien and vast that Elena's mind struggled to comprehend it. "Ladies and gentlemen," Ramirez announced, his voice filled with awe, "welcome to the seat of the Galactic Council." As they approached the station, Elena felt the nanobots in her system react, becoming more active. She glanced at her fellow delegates and saw they were experiencing the same thing. The plague within them was awakening, as if excited by the proximity to advanced alien technology. "Colonel," Elena said urgently, "we need to warn the Council. Our infection, it's not dormant. If we dock with that station, we might spread the plague across the galaxy." Harper's face was grim. "We can't turn back now, Doctor. Earth has days, maybe hours, before the mutations become irreversible. We have to take the risk." The ship's communication system crackled to life, an alien voice speaking in a language that hurt Elena's ears. The linguist, Dr. Sarah Chen, listened intently before translating. "They're ordering us to hold position," she said. "They've detected the nanoplague and are debating whether to let us board or to destroy us on sight." A heavy silence fell over the delegation. They were so close to potential salvation, yet the very thing they sought to cure might doom them and countless other species. Elena stood up, her decision made. "Open a channel to the station. I need to speak to them directly." "But the translator," Dr. Chen began. "Won't be necessary," Elena interrupted. To everyone's shock, she began speaking in the alien language they had just heard, her voice producing sounds no human vocal cords should be capable of. "What the hell?" Colonel Harper exclaimed. Elena was just as stunned as the others. Somehow, the nanobots in her system had analyzed the alien transmission and reconfigured her body to reproduce it. She pressed on, using her newfound ability to plead their case to the Galactic Council. "We come seeking aid, bearing both a dire warning and a unique opportunity," she said, her alien words echoing through the ship. "The plague that infects us is evolving, adapting. If you help us, we might unlock biotechnology beyond anything the galaxy has ever seen." There was a long, tense pause. Then, slowly, the massive docking bay doors of the station began to open. "They're letting us in," Elena breathed, hardly believing it. As their ship maneuvered towards the entrance, Elena felt the nanobots surge within her, changing her in ways she couldn't yet fathom. Looking at her fellow delegates, she saw the same mix of fear and determination in their eyes. They were walking into the heart of galactic civilization as carriers of a catastrophic plague. Yet they were also the harbingers of a potential evolutionary leap, one that could reshape the very fabric of life in the cosmos. The fate of humanity, and perhaps the entire galaxy, now rested on their shoulders. As the airlock engaged, Elena took a deep breath, steeling herself for the challenges ahead. The true test of humanity's worth in the cosmic arena was about to begin. The labyrinth of bureaucracy. The airlock hissed open, revealing a vast, shimmering chamber that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Dr. Elena Ruiz stepped forward, her newly enhanced senses overwhelmed by the alien environment. The air itself felt alive, tingling against her skin and carrying scents she had no words to describe. "My God," Colonel Harper whispered beside her. "It's beautiful." Before them stretched a sprawling atrium, filled with beings of every conceivable shape and size. Some floated gracefully through the air, while others slithered or rolled across the floor. Holographic displays flickered everywhere, showing incomprehensible symbols and images. A tall, willowy creature approached them, its body a swirl of iridescent colors. When it spoke, Elena was startled to find she could understand it perfectly. "Welcome, Terrans," it said, its voice resonating directly in their minds. "I am Sinla, your assigned guide. Please follow me to quarantine and processing." As they walked, Elena noticed the strange looks they were receiving from the other aliens. Some seemed curious, others disgusted, and a few downright hostile. "They know we're infected," Dr. Chen murmured. "We're a walking biohazard to them." Sinla led them to a sleek, featureless room. "Please remain here while we conduct our initial scans and risk assessment," it said before gliding out, a force field shimmering into place behind it. Hours passed as various alien devices probed and scanned them. Elena felt the nanobots in her system reacting, adapting to each new stimulus. Finally, Sinla returned. "Your condition is unprecedented," it announced. "The Council is debating how to proceed. In the meantime, you will be allowed limited access to the station. But first, you must complete the necessary documentation." What followed was a nightmare of alien bureaucracy. They were led to a massive hall filled with terminals, each staffed by a different species. For the next several hours, they were shuffled from station to station, answering bizarre questions and providing information they didn't even know they had. "Species designation." A gelatinous blob gurgled at Elena. "Human," she replied wearily. The blob's surface rippled in what might have been confusion, not recognized. "Please choose from approved list." Elena stared at the holographic display, filled with millions of unpronounceable names. Frustrated, she was about to argue when she felt a strange tingling in her brain. Suddenly, she knew exactly which designation to choose. "Homo novus," she said confidently. The blob seemed satisfied, its tendrils tapping away at the controls. Meanwhile, Colonel Harper was having his own troubles. "What do you mean, quantum state of maternal ancestor?" He growled at a floating crystal. "It's asking about your grandmother's mood when you were born," Dr. Chen translated, her own patience wearing thin. The philosopher of their group, Dr. Amelia Wong, seemed to be the only one enjoying herself. "Fascinating," she muttered, engrossed in a debate about ethics with a being that appeared to be a sentient cloud of gas. As they struggled through the bureaucratic maze, Elena began to notice something odd. The station's layout seemed to be constantly shifting, corridors appearing and disappearing at random. "Is it just me?" she asked Harper, "or is this place alive?" The colonel nodded grimly. "I've been mapping our route in my head, but it keeps changing. It's like the station is testing us." Just then, alarms began blaring. Red light flooded the hall, and aliens of all kinds began rushing in every direction. "Containment breach in Sector 7. A booming voice announced in multiple languages. "All non-essential personnel evacuate immediately." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. Sector 7. That's where they were studying samples of the nanoplague. Harper's eyes widened. "You don't think?" Before he could finish, a massive tentacle smashed through a nearby wall. It writhed in the air, dripping with a familiar silvery substance. "Run," Elena shouted, but the chaos of panicking aliens made escape nearly impossible. As they fought against the tide of fleeing beings, Elena's enhanced senses picked up a faint voice. "Humans. This way." She turned to see a small, unassuming alien waving at them from a hidden doorway. It wore what appeared to be a maintenance uniform. "Who are you?" Harper demanded as they reached the alcove. "Name's Zixtalk," the alien replied in surprisingly good English. I'm a sanitation engineer. Look, you want to reach the council chambers. I know a shortcut. Elena hesitated. Why would you help us? Zixtok's compound eyes blinked rapidly. Because unlike these stuffed-up bureaucrats, I've been watching you. You're different. Adaptable. Maybe you're what this stagnant council needs. Another explosion rocked the station, making their decision for them. Lead the way, Elena said. Zixtok guided them through a dizzying array of maintenance tunnels and service ducts. As they crawled through the bowels of the living station, Elena felt the nanobots in her system becoming more active, almost as if they were communicating with the organic technology around them. The station, she gasped. It's not just alive. It's evolving, adapting to the nanoplague. Zixtok chittered nervously. That's impossible. This station has remained unchanged for millennia. Yet Elena could feel it. The walls pulsed with new life, conduits rerouting and systems rewriting themselves in real time. It was both terrifying and exhilarating. They emerged into a vast, darkened chamber. Ahead, they could see a circle of illuminated pods, each containing a different alien being. The Galactic Council. This is as far as I go, Zixtok whispered. Good luck, humans. Try not to get vaporized. As the maintenance aliens scuttled away, Elena and her team approached the council. The pods began to glow brighter, and a chorus of alien voices filled the air. Humans of Earth, they spoke in unison. You stand accused of bringing a Class X biohazard into the heart of galactic civilization. The penalty is immediate termination. How do you plead? Elena stepped forward, feeling the weight of her species' future on her shoulders. The nanobots surged within her, granting her clarity and confidence she had never known. Esteemed members of the council, she began, her voice carrying an otherworldly resonance. We come before you not as plague bearers, but as the key to the next stage of galactic evolution. The council murmured among themselves, clearly taken aback by her transformation. Elena pressed on, her words flowing with an eloquence that surprised even her. The nanoplague that infects us is not a simple virus. It's a tool of adaptation, of enhancement. Even now, it's helping your station evolve, overcome its stagnation. We humans have always been agents of change, and now we offer that gift to the galaxy. She gestured to her team, each of whom was manifesting new, startling abilities. Harper's skin had taken on a metallic sheen, impervious to harm. Dr. Chen spoke simultaneously in every language known to the council. Dr. Wang's eyes glowed with newfound cosmic awareness. We stand ready to undergo any trial, any test you deem necessary, Elena continued. Judge us not by your fears, but by our potential. The universe is changing, council members. The question is, will you change with it or be left behind? A tense silence fell over the chamber. The fate of humanity, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. As the council deliberated, Elena felt the station pulse around them, as if the very heart of galactic civilization was holding its breath, waiting to see what this new, evolved humanity would bring to the cosmic stage. The trial of humanity was about to begin, and its outcome would reshape the universe forever. The trial of humanity. The chamber hummed with tension as the Galactic Council deliberated. Dr. Elena Ruse stood tall, her body thrumming with the power of the evolving nanoplague. Beside her, the rest of the human delegation waited, each transformed in their own unique way. Finally, a voice boomed through the chamber, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Humans of Earth, your plea has been considered. We find ourselves at an unprecedented crossroads. A holographic image materialized in the center of the room, showing the space station's schematics. Portions of it pulsed with new life, the nanoplague's influence spreading. Your infection poses a threat we cannot ignore, the voice continued. Yet your potential cannot be denied. We hereby invoke the ancient right of xenoevolution trials. Colonel Harper stepped forward, his metallic skin gleaming. And what exactly are these trials? A new voice, gravelly and deep, responded. Each of you will face a challenge designed to test the limits of your species' adaptability. Success will earn you the right to plead your case before the full council. Failure means extinction. Dr. Chen, the linguist, gasped. But there are only 4 of us. You said each of us. The 5th trial, the gravelly voice interrupted, will be undertaken by your entire species, observed through our quantum arrays. Earth's response to the plague will determine much. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. They weren't just fighting for themselves, but for every human back home. Very well, she said, squaring her shoulders. We accept your terms. When do we begin? The chamber suddenly shifted, walls melting away to reveal 5 distinct arenas. Elena found herself alone in a vast, swirling nebula of toxic gas. Dr. Elena Ruiz, a melodic voice announced, your trial is one of environmental adaptation. Survive the venom mists of Salthora for 1 planetary rotation. Before Elena could respond, searing pain enveloped her body. The nebulous toxins began eating away at her skin, her lungs burning with each breath. She fell to her knees, fighting the urge to scream. But then, something remarkable happened. The nanobots in her system sprang into action, restructuring her body at the cellular level. Her skin hardened, developing a chitinous exoskeleton. Her lungs transformed, capable of filtering, and even metabolizing the toxic gases. As the pain subsided, Elena stood, marveling at her new form. She had become something beyond human, perfectly adapted to this lethal environment. With a surge of confidence, she began exploring the nebula, discovering its hidden beauties and dangers. Meanwhile, Colonel Harper found himself in a simulated war zone. Swarms of robotic enemies attacked from all sides, their weapons far beyond anything Earth had ever seen. Your trial, Colonel, a stern voice declared, is one of tactical supremacy. Defeat the Warmend of Sector 9. Harper's military training kicked in, but it was the nanoplague's enhancements that kept him alive. His metallic skin deflected energy blasts, while his mind interfaced directly with the surrounding technology. He became a one-man army, outthinking and outfighting the alien eye at every turn. As the final enemy fell, Harper allowed himself a grim smile. Is that all you've got? He challenged. In her arena, Dr. Sarah Chen faced a challenge of cosmic proportions. She stood before a massive, pulsating orb of pure information, the Galactic archives. Comprehend and synthesize, a whisper echoed in her mind. Unlock the secrets of the universe. Chen's eyes glowed as the nanobots enhanced her cognitive abilities to superhuman levels. Languages, scientific theories, and the histories of 1,000,000 worlds poured into her consciousness. She began making connections no individual had ever made before, unraveling the very fabric of reality. Tears streamed down her face as she touched the infinite. It's beautiful, she breathed. Dr. Amelia Wong, the philosopher, found herself in a featureless white room. Before her stood a being of pure energy, its form constantly shifting. You faced the trial of ethics, it said, its voice resonating in her soul. Judge the unjudgeable. Solve the moral paradox of Zen. Suddenly, Wang's mind was assaulted with scenarios of unimaginable complexity. The fate of entire civilizations hung on her decisions. The nanoplague expanded her consciousness, allowing her to perceive morality on a multidimensional level. As she grappled with cosmic ethics, Wang felt herself changing, evolving into something beyond mere human comprehension. There are no easy answers, she said finally, but there is always hope. Back on Earth, humanity faced its own trial. As the nanoplague spread, society teetered on the brink of collapse. But in pockets around the globe, people began to adapt, to change, to evolve. In the slums of Mumbai, a young girl discovered she could purify polluted water with a touch. In the war-torn streets of Mogadishu, a teacher found he could instill knowledge directly into his students' minds. Across the world, humans were becoming something more. Yet with these gifts came challenges. Some used their new abilities for personal gain, sparking conflicts. Others, frightened by the changes, lashed out at the evolved. The true test was not the plague itself, but how humanity would shape its own future. As the trials neared their end, Elena and her team were reunited in the council chamber, each forever changed by their experiences. "Impossible," one council member muttered. "No species has ever completed all 5 trials." "Yet here we stand," Elena said, her voice carrying the wisdom of eons. "We've proven our worth, not just as individuals, but as a species. Humanity has faced extinction and emerged stronger, wiser, more adaptable than ever before." The council members conferred in hushed tones. Finally, the central figure spoke. "You have indeed proven yourselves formidable. But the question remains, can you be trusted with the power you now wield?" Elena stepped forward, her form shifting to adapt to the perceptions of each council member. "We don't ask for your trust," she said. "We ask for your partnership. The galaxy stands on the brink of a new era. Together, we can guide this evolution, ensuring it benefits all sentient life." She gestured, and a holographic display sprang to life, showing the myriad ways the nanoplague had changed humanity for the better. "We offer you not conquest, but collaboration. Not domination, but diversity. We stand ready to take our place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as fellow explorers in this grand cosmic journey." The chamber fell silent as her words hung in the air. The fate of humanity, and perhaps the entire galaxy, balanced on a knife's edge. Then, slowly, one by one, the council members began to nod. "Very well," the central figure said, its voice tinged with what might have been awe. "Humanity has earned its right to stand among us. But know this, with great power comes great responsibility. The galaxy will be watching." As the council session adjourned, Elena turned to her team, their eyes shining with the light of new possibilities. They had done it. Against all odds, humanity had proven its worth to the galaxy. But Elena knew this was just the beginning. The real challenge lay ahead, guiding humanity's evolution, mediating between the changed and unchanged, and carving out their place in a vast, indifferent universe. As they prepared to return to Earth, now representatives of a recognized galactic power, Elena allowed herself a small smile. Whatever the future held, one thing was certain: humanity, in all its chaotic, adaptable glory, would face it head-on. The age of Homo Novus had begun. The ethical dilemma. The journey back to Earth was tense with anticipation. Dr. Elena Ruiz stood at the viewport of the alien ship, her transformed body shimmering slightly as it continuously adapted to the changing environment. Behind her, the rest of the delegation sat in contemplative silence, each grappling with the weight of their new responsibility. As they entered Earth's atmosphere, the true scale of the changes became apparent. The planet's cities glowed with an otherworldly light, visible even from space. Vast structures of unknown purpose stretched across entire continents. "My God," Colonel Harper whispered, his metallic skin reflecting the ethereal glow. "What have we come home to?" The ship touched down in what used to be Central Park, now a sprawling complex of organic architecture. A crowd had gathered, their bodies displaying a dizzying array of adaptations. Some floated effortlessly, others seemed to phase in and out of reality, while still others appeared completely normal, at least on the surface. As the delegation disembarked, they were met by a figure that radiated authority. She introduced herself as Dr. Samantha Reeves, the leader of the Emergency World Council. "Welcome back," she said, her voice carrying directly into their minds. "We have much to discuss." In a room that seemed to be a fusion of technology and living tissue, the delegation was briefed on the situation. The nanoplague had transformed roughly 60% of the world's population. The changes were vast and varied, with new abilities emerging daily. "But that's not why we've gathered you here," Dr. Reeves said gravely. "We've detected a signal. The source of the artifact that started all this. It's on its way. And it's not alone." Holographic displays sprang to life, showing a massive fleet of alien ships approaching the solar system. Their designs were unlike anything in the Galactic Council's database. "We believe they're the creators of the nanoplague," Reeves continued, "and they'll be here in less than a month." The room erupted into heated discussion. Colonel Harper argued for immediate military preparation, while Dr. Chen suggested attempting communication. Dr. Wong raised ethical concerns about using their newfound abilities in conflict. Alina listened to it all, her enhanced mind processing the implications at lightning speed. Finally, she spoke, her voice cutting through the chaos. "We're missing the point," she said. "The real question is, what do we do about the unchanged?" A hush fell over the room. Alina continued, "The Galactic Council granted us status based on our potential. But what about the 40% of humanity that hasn't transformed? In the eyes of the galaxy, they're still primitive. We can't claim to represent Earth if we're leaving nearly half our population behind." Dr. Reeves nodded slowly. "We've been grappling with this issue. Some suggest forced evolution, using our abilities to change the unchanged whether they want it or not. Others propose a two-tier society, with the evolved as benevolent guardians of the unchanged. Both options are unethical," Dr. Wong interjected, her eyes swirling with cosmic awareness. "We cannot force this change on others, nor can we create a society of second-class citizens. But we can't simply do nothing," Colonel Harper argued. "With this threat approaching, we need every advantage we can get. The unchanged are vulnerable." As the debate raged on, Alina felt a familiar tingling sensation. The nanobots in her system were reacting to something. She focused, allowing her senses to expand beyond the room, beyond the city, reaching out across the globe. What she felt took her breath away. The unchanged weren't simply static beings waiting for evolution. They were a vital part of a delicate balance. Their unaltered state served as an anchor, a living memory of what humanity had been. More than that, they were evolving too, just at a slower, more natural pace. "We've been thinking about this all wrong," Alina said, her voice filled with wonder. "The unchanged aren't a problem to be solved. They're essential to our survival as a species." She waved her hand, and the room's holographic displays came to life with her vision. It showed a web of energy connecting all of humanity, evolved and unchanged alike. The unchanged served as stabilizing nodes, preventing the rapid evolution from spiraling out of control. "Don't you see?" Alina continued. "This isn't about making everyone the same. It's about finding unity in our diversity. The unchanged keep us connected to our roots, to the very essence of what makes us human. Without them, we risk losing ourselves entirely to this transformation." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Dr. Reeves was the first to speak. "If what you're saying is true, then our entire approach needs to change. But how do we protect the unchanged from the coming threat?" Alina smiled. "We do it together. Our newfound abilities aren't just for combat or cosmic understanding. We can use them to enhance and protect without changing the fundamental nature of those who wish to remain as they are." Over the next few weeks, a new plan took shape. Evolved humans with defensive abilities formed protective shields around unchanged population centers. Those with enhanced intelligence worked tirelessly on advancing Earth's technology, creating defenses that could be operated by anyone, evolved or not. The unchanged, for their part, provided invaluable insight and grounding. Their perspective, untainted by the cosmic awareness that came with evolution, often led to creative solutions the evolved had overlooked. As the deadline approached, Earth had been transformed into a unique blend of the familiar and the extraordinary. Shimmering force fields coexisted with traditional buildings. Psychic communication networks complemented conventional internet. It was a world where the evolved and unchanged worked side by side, each valued for their unique contributions. But the ethical dilemmas were far from over. As the alien fleet entered the solar system, humanity faced its greatest test. The evolved members of society had the power to potentially wipe out the threat with a thought. The unchanged argued for more diplomatic solutions. The balance between power and restraint, between progress and preservation, would define humanity's place in the galaxy. Elena stood at the command center, surrounded by a mix of evolved and unchanged individuals, all working together despite their differences. She felt the weight of the entire species on her shoulders. "Open a channel to the approaching fleet," she commanded. As the communication system crackled to life, Elena took a deep breath. In this moment, she wasn't just speaking for the evolved or the unchanged, but for all of humanity. Their response to this threat would show the galaxy, and themselves, what they had truly become. "This is Earth," she began, her voice steady. "We know who you are and why you've come. But before you take another step, there's something you need to understand about humanity." She paused, looking around at the diverse faces surrounding her, some transformed beyond recognition, others as they had always been, all of them human. "We are not simply the result of your nanoplague. We are not weapons or experiments. We are a species that has faced extinction and emerged stronger, not by becoming uniform, but by embracing our differences. Whatever your intentions, know this: humanity stands united, evolved and unchanged. We face the future together, and we are prepared to fight for our right to choose our own path." As her words echoed across space, Elena felt a surge of pride. They had faced the ethical dilemma not by choosing one side over the other, but by forging a new path that respected all. Whatever came next, humanity would face it as one. The response from the alien fleet would determine much. But in this moment, on the brink of either war or a new understanding, humanity had already achieved its greatest victory. They had remained true to themselves, honoring both their past and their potential. The age of Homo Novus had truly begun, not as a replacement for humanity, but as a testament to its infinite capacity for growth, adaptation, and unity in the face of cosmic challenges. Humanity's metamorphosis. The tension in Earth's upper atmosphere was palpable as the alien fleet hung in geosynchronous orbit, a silent armada of sleek, obsidian ships that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. In the command center below, Dr. Elena Ruiz stood resolute, surrounded by a united front of humanity's finest, both evolved and unchanged. The response to Elena's transmission came not in words, but in action. A single ship, smaller than the rest, but no less intimidating, detached from the fleet and began its descent towards Earth. "They're coming," Colonel Harper said, his metallic skin rippling with anticipation. Dr. Reeves nodded. "All defense systems are on standby. We're ready for whatever happens." The alien ship touched down in the same location where Elena and her team had returned just weeks earlier. As its hull arised open, a being emerged that defied easy description. It seemed to shift and flow, as if its very existence fluctuated between multiple states of being. "I am Zarthos." The being's voice resonated in everyone's minds simultaneously. "Creator of what you call the nanoplague. We have come to witness the fruits of our labor." Elena stepped forward, her own form adapting subtly to better communicate with the alien entity. "We are not your experiment, Zarthos. We are a sovereign species that has chosen its own path of evolution." The alien's form shimmered with what might have been amusement. "You misunderstand. We did not create you to control you. We sow the seeds of evolution across the galaxy, watching as species rise to meet their potential or fall into extinction. You have surprised us." As Zarthos spoke, more of the alien's kind emerged from the ship. They spread out, their bodies interfacing with Earth's technology and biosphere in ways that even the most evolved humans couldn't comprehend. Dr. Chen, her mind now a vast repository of galactic knowledge, gasped in realization. "They're not invaders," she said. "They're observers, catalysts of cosmic evolution." Zarthos nodded, its form resolving briefly into something almost humanoid. "For eons, we have sought a species capable of true symbiosis, a union of organic life and technological advancement that doesn't erase the essence of either. You stand on the brink of that achievement." The implications were staggering. Humanity wasn't just fighting for its survival or its place in the galactic community. They were on the verge of a leap in evolution that could reshape the very nature of life in the universe. But with this revelation came a new ethical quandary. Dr. Wong, her eyes swirling with cosmic awareness, voiced the concern on everyone's minds. If we take this step, if we fully embrace this evolution, what becomes of our humanity? Of those who choose to remain unchanged? Zarthos' form rippled. That, Dr. Wong, is the very question at the heart of existence. Change is inevitable, but the nature of that change, that is the choice each species must make for itself. As the aliens interfaced with Earth's systems, new information flooded the command center screens. The nanoplague wasn't just transforming individuals, it was evolving the entire biosphere. Plants, animals, even microorganisms were changing, creating a new global ecosystem that blended the organic and the technological. Elena watched in awe as the bigger picture became clear. It's not about evolve versus unchange, she breathed. It's about finding a balance that allows for infinite diversity and infinite combinations. With this understanding, a new possibility emerged. Using their enhanced abilities, Elena and the other evolved humans began to interface with the alien technology, not to control it, but to understand it. As they did, they found they could guide the nanoplague's influence, shaping the course of Earth's evolution with conscious intent. Unchanged humans, their minds unaltered by cosmic awareness, provided crucial insights. Their grounded perspective helped navigate the ethical minefields of this guided evolution. They became the moral compass, ensuring that in the rush towards advancement, the core of humanity's values wasn't lost. Over the next few days, as the aliens watched and humanity debated, a new consensus began to form. Earth would neither reject the evolutionary leap nor force it upon everyone. Instead, they would create a world where multiple paths of human existence could coexist and thrive. Great biodomes arose across the planet, each a unique blend of evolved and traditional ecosystems. In some, humans embraced full symbiosis with technology, their bodies and minds expanding beyond traditional limits. In others, people chose to remain unchanged, living in harmony with nature as their ancestors had for millennia. And in many places, the two paths intersected, creating hybrid societies of infinite variety. But the greatest change came in humanity's collective consciousness. As they reshaped their world, they found themselves linked in a vast psychic network, not one that erased individuality, but one that fostered deep understanding and empathy. Conflicts that had plagued humanity for centuries began to fade as people truly comprehended one another's perspectives. As the transformation neared its completion, Zarthos and the other aliens prepared to depart. But before they left, they extended an invitation that would change the course of human history. "You have proven yourselves worthy," Zarthos proclaimed. "We offer you a place among the cosmic cultivators, those who guide the evolution of life throughout the universe. Will you join us in shaping the future of all existence?" The decision was not made lightly. Humanity debated, their new global consciousness alive with discourse. In the end, they chose a path as unique as their journey had been. "We are honored by your offer," Elena replied, speaking for all of humanity. "But our place is here, with Earth and with each other. We will not be absent gardeners of evolution. Instead, we choose to be a living example of harmonious growth and diversity." She gestured to the transformed Earth behind her. "Our world is now a beacon of possibility, a place where technology and nature, change and tradition, the cosmic and the human all coexist in balance. We invite all species, all civilizations, to come and learn, to share in our experience, and to contribute their own wisdom." Zarthos' form shimmered with what could only be described as pride. "Then you have achieved something even greater than we had hoped. You will be not just participants in cosmic evolution, but teachers. Earth shall be a shining jewel in the galactic community, a living laboratory of coexistence and growth." As the alien fleet departed, humanity looked to the stars with new eyes. They had faced extinction and emerged transformed. They had grappled with impossible ethical dilemmas and found a path forward that honored all. They had become something entirely new while remaining true to the core of what made them human. The age of Homo novus had dawned, but it was not the end of humanity's story. It was a new beginning, the start of an epic journey into a future limited only by the bounds of imagination and tempered by the wisdom of countless perspectives. Earth, once a pale blue dot in the cosmic ocean, now shone with the light of infinite possibility. And humanity, in all its diverse, ever-changing, yet eternally human glory, stood ready to face whatever wonders and challenges the universe had in store. The metamorphosis was complete. Humanity's cosmic adventure had only just begun.